But we're going back how many years? Going back, what, 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How many years, Del?
5 or 6.
And Del, were they correct in their summation of what was wrong with you? Were they correct telling everyone, the family, you had dementia? Were they correct, the doctors?
No.
Not at all, were they? Okay. So, Linda, as a family, how did you feel that your mother was diagnosed with dementia? How did you feel?
Well, we just accepted it because that's what the doctors told us. But I can see now that maybe some of her brain cells have died off, but she doesn't have dementia.
So why did some of her brain cells die off?
Well, I have a feeling it could be the lithium.
And
that
how many
she
years?
was on for, would have been 15, maybe 20
It was
years.
over 20.
But over 20 years, yeah.
So do you want to tell the world how bad any antidepressant is?
Well, I know lithium is the strongest drug that you can have for depression, and I know when you go off it, you're supposed to go off it gradually under doctor supervision. She went off it probably 10 years ago.
So do you now know that any antidepressant damages your brain?
Well, I've learnt that now. Yes.
And what made the difference to find out the truth, what was wrong with Del?
Well, we can see now how much she has improved.
But what was the pinpoint of getting her to find out what was wrong?
The fluid on the brain
Yeah,
is what well, some doctors, one doctor didn't want to have anything to do with the fluid on the brain. He just thought it's dementia and that's the way that it is. But
and
then
was
we
he a
eventually
surgeon?
He was the neurologist.
Yep.
Yes. Then we went to this other doctor who, before we said anything about fluid on the brain, he was the one that suggested that she had all the symptoms of fluid on the brain.
So as a family, what made you think she had fluid on the brain?
Because we did some research on the internet and she had all the symptoms for fluid on the brain. And there was one section that had a questionnaire of 10 questions and she answered yes to all the questions. So that was proving that she did have it, but the first neurologist didn't even look at that and didn't even want to consider it.
So how did you even get to the first conclusion to research fluid on the brain?
Because of what Kim told us. There was a show on TV in America where a guy had the operation done and a big improvement, and he had the same symptoms as what Mum's got.
So what were the symptoms?
When she goes to walk, it's like her feet are glued to the floor, and she leans forward, but her feet aren't moving. There was incontinence was part of it, and what was the other one?
Was she plugged into any conversations at all?
No.
So
she lost her social skills in communicating.
And how did that make you feel as a family?
Well, it's very sad for all of us to see her go downhill that way.
How did you feel?
It's very, very sad and a bit, we didn't know what to do with her. We didn't know what the next step should be, and we just resigned ourselves while the doctors are telling us that she's not going to improve, and we thought that was what was going to happen.
So what was Kim's background? How long had she worked with Del?
She's been working for, 4 years? 5 years? 4 years. And she's been coming along once a week, sometimes twice a week before the problems got worse, and she was the one that always said no, Mum didn't have dementia. She continued working with her, being very positive and encouraging.
So what was she doing with her?
Doing different exercises. She uses, she's always said she's had strong legs, so she's using the muscles in her legs and her arms, just being very encouraging and motivating her as much as she could.
It was getting difficult though, wasn't it?
Well, towards the end, when she went in, yes, she was very hard to get her to do anything. But then since the operation, and she's had the shunt put in, and with Kim's help, she's been very encouraging to Mum, and we can all see the big improvement now.
In
So,
how many weeks is that?
is it 4 weeks? 4 weeks since she had the operation?
No, 8,
8 weeks since the operation.
but 4 weeks being home.
Oh, that's right, yes. She was in hospital for 3 or 4 weeks.
So what happened when she was in hospital? What did you all conclude after the surgery? What do you want to warn people about what to expect?
Well, when we were in the hospital, the doctors were telling us that Mum they've always had her as a high care patient. She needed help and assistance in everything, in getting up from the bed to the chair, from the chair to the bed. And if Mum said no, she couldn't do